Billionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
A poor man prayers,
every man bleeds.
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.
Under the Fair Use Act, these videos are for information and educational purposes, and I do not own the rights to any of these videos that are shown. All rights reserved to the original content creators.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy SL550, and this is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. So today, we're gonna go over, it's been so much fraud going on with inside our government, bro. And all Trump seems like to me, all Trump is trying to do is expose it, get rid of it, so that way America could be that much more better. But all the Democrats seem to be doing is stonewalling them, suing them, doing everything they can to go against everything that Donald Trump is trying to improve with the country. So how can Donald Trump ever get his agenda across, make things affordable, and do what he said he was going to do if every single time he attempts to do anything or does anything, they try to sue him and do all of these different things to stop him? And then claim, oh, he's not keeping his word. He said he was going to do this. He said he was going to do that. He's not doing this. When we know Trump is doing everything he literally said he was going to do on the campaign trail. But the Democrats are trying to stop him every step of the way. And he's just exposing them. And they're exposing themselves, to be honest with you. So before we start, man, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel because it costs you nothing. Also, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time your boy go live. So let's get into it, man. We're going to tap in with Fox, see what they talking about with Laura Ingraham and Faulkner. They going over pretty much this whole Ilhan Omar is the topic of discussion right now, with all and Tim Walz, with all the fraud going on in Minnesota, and they're claiming that Trump is being racist with this whole scenario. And I know I went over this a few times, but this is the topic of discussion, so we're going to talk about it because the claims are that the amount could actually exceed the number that's been put out there already, which is about $1 billion that have been defrauded, right? And they're saying that it's a way bigger number. The point is, for me, is that every time you turn around, there is something being exposed with this fraud. And with Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz in Minnesota, this situation is they're not denying it. And the funny part is now they're trying to make it seem like, oh, we're locking people up. You know, we're putting people on the stand now and we're charging them. Stop, man. If Trump administration and leadership in Minnesota haven't exposed, if they didn't expose this wouldn't have came out. They would have continued to do what they are doing. And they're just worried now because, listen, yes, are a lot of them citizens? Yes, they are. Legally, they are citizens. They've been naturalized, but you can lose that. And that's what Trump is trying to explain to them. Like, he already let it be known that he doesn't feel as though that these people love the country, want better for the country, or trying to do things to improve the country, that all they're doing is defrauding the country. So they don't deserve to be here. So they on the hot seat. We'll see what happens and what comes out of it, but let's get into it.
The nightmare billion-dollar fraud scandal rolls on in Minnesota, and now the heat is on that state's most powerful elected officials. Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison are trying hard to defend what they are accused of doing. Prosecutors say it was widespread and organized theft of taxpayer money. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. House Oversight Republicans are accusing Walz and Ellison of looking the other way to avoid political problems with Minnesota's influential Somali community. If you can't get that vote in that community, you can't win in politics in that state. It's very real. Ellison claims everything is under control now, though.
We're glad that we took the action that we did. I convicted over 300 people in the last few years for Medicaid fraud. So we are very able to go after fraud, and we do all the time.
Prosecutors have charged more than 75 people, so they didn't find everybody clearly if they were even looking, in 4 separate ongoing investigations. Here's the Republican Minnesota House Speaker.
We're finally getting that national attention that we need so much here in our state to have full investigations. But you're right. It's over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars that have gone out to fraud instead of going to the people that needed those services the most.
Former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer in focus in a moment. I want to go straight to our correspondent Garrett Tenney, who's been all over this story since it broke. Garrett.
Well, here's the level of fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion.
And real quick, y'all. And listen, I'll keep saying it. This is what they care about the most. Trump is cutting off the funding for them. He is exposing the truth that these people aren't doing anything but robbing us. And this is what annoys me the most about people. They want to focus on things that don't matter, like the Epstein files. Not saying it doesn't matter from the aspect of people need to be held accountable. Of course they do. Totally agree. But as far as top issues in the country, that's not one of them. I'm just being honest, bro. It may sound insensitive, but it's not. And I only say that because it's unaffordable right now. Prices need to come down, which these are the things Trump is trying to do. This is what he's doing. And stopping this fraud is also playing a part in this too, because this money that they're catching, they're no longer going to be able to steal it anymore from us. So people in Minnesota and these other states where they're catching this fraud, now this money will be going to where it's supposed to go to. And this is why they're mad, bro. This is why they're mad. You know, him saying, you know, with the welfare, him cracking down on, people, able-bodied people, immigrants, these illegal immigrants and all of that, getting this welfare. This all stopping. It's all about to be done up. And it's going to do multiple things. Number one, it's going to force all the illegal immigrants that are here getting these benefits, it's going to force them to voluntarily leave. And it's going to save money in where they're not getting the funds no more. Plus, ICE won't have to get as many people out of the country, because how else are they going to survive here? They're not. You know what I mean? So you just got to ask yourself, why are they going so hard for illegal immigration? And it's because they were able to defraud the government for so much money, bro. And this is why I don't know if I might play it. Depends on the time. But I think I already played this story. It was from a while ago, but Brian Maxwell ran it today on one of his shows. And he was playing a segment. I forget her name, but she went into detail. She basically said I think it was a cabinet meeting, matter of fact. And she was saying that they reached out to every state telling them basically, we want to check the books, long story short, right? And only, I think she said 29 states, which were all red states, agreed, right? And even in the red states, there was a lot of fraud going on, like people getting benefits in multiple states, dead people getting benefits. It was a whole bunch of different things that she said, right? And then she said every Democratic state is refusing to let them look at the books, basically, and see what's really going on in these states. And we wonder why. Because in every one of these states, they're doing, even in the red states, but especially in these Democratic states where all these illegal immigrants are at, they're doing so much fraud. And this is why people need to go to jail, bro. This is how this stops, bro. Laws got to be put in place for these things not to happen. And the consequences for these things happening need to be they need to be harsh, bro. They need to be harsh, bro. Because that's the only way you get people to stop doing these things that they're doing in the government, bro. It's insane, bro. It's insane. Because, see, people forget about Doge. Like, even though Doge is still there, we just don't hear about it, right? They're still there. They're still doing their job, but we just don't hear about it. But people forget about all the things that Doge exposed in the beginning of Trump's administration. So much money. And that's why he was talking about the Doge checks or something like that, giving Doge checks or some shit. Man, oh man. It's crazy, bro.
Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch. But he says they have paused these programs. They've brought in outside auditors to get an idea of how far-reaching this fraud was. They're taking steps to keep it from happening again. And he's defending his management of the state while also taking shots at Republicans and the president.
This dude is a clown.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Minnesota is also now home to the single.
Now, look, it's just hilarious that now they're trying to act like they're cracking down on this stuff, but you didn't hear any of them. This is my thing. If they were cracking down on this stuff, you would have heard about these stories before this stuff really came out. You would have heard about it. They would have been talking about it. You know what I mean? Because this is all good press for any politician, any governor, mayor, anybody that is in these leadership positions. This is good press for them, saying that they're cracking down on crime, they're cracking down on fraud and all of these different things that's going on, right? Why hasn't this been come out? This has been going on for years. This is COVID money that they're defrauding, that they're taking advantage of, and more, bro. I've seen clips of motherfuckers getting thousands of dollars, bro. Somebody got like $20-some thousand in SNAP benefits. I wish that was me. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little jealous. But it's crazy though. It's crazy. And it's not even including all the illegal immigrants that they claim aren't getting health insurance, they're not getting benefits and all of this stuff. They're getting all of it. And they're getting way more. I would say that for every 3 U.S.-born citizens getting welfare, there's 1 illegal immigrant getting what all 3 of them are getting by themselves.
Largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. And Republicans argue that Walz and other Democrats opened the door to this by offering such generous social welfare benefits without any real protections against fraud, and then ignored warnings about that fraud because they didn't want to lose the support of the Somali community.
The whistleblowers that I've spoken to are saying that the governor knew, and the governor and Lieutenant Governor and even Chris Schmitter, who was his chief of staff, came to them as staff and scolded them for pointing out fraud.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar told CNN this week she believes the fraud spiraled out of control because COVID programs were rolled out without sufficient guardrails. It's also worth noting the owner of the restaurant where Omar held her 2018 victory party is among those from the Somali community who have been convicted of profiting from the schemes. Harris?
Look, I don't know. I know this would be public, but I don't know how hard they'd make us work as journalists. But I want a FOIA for those 300-plus arrests that A.G. Ellison says that he made. I want to know the dates that those arrests, do they coincide with being caught or this coming to light? I want to know who they picked up in the scheme when you just heard a head of small business saying, Kelly Loeffler, there are more people to go out and get. I mean, this is unbelievable. Your last quick word.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Earlier this week, when Governor Walz was asked why is it that he was leaving this up to the feds, why isn't the state doing more?
Yeah.
He said, we're working with the feds and that we're leading to these federal cases. He didn't answer that question repeatedly, though, of why it is that the state itself hasn't done more to go after these fraud cases.
Wow. And just to hear Tim Walz saying he's working with the feds after every push against ICE, different topic, same attitude, though. So interesting. Now, to save his own hide, he's going to work with the feds for that investigation. Garrett Tenney, thank you. Minnesota's fraud scandal is raising much larger, more far-reaching in implications questions about the welfare state and government bureaucracies across America. The Wall Street Journal editorial board is honing in on that issue that is at the heart of, remember, DOJ's mission to cut out things that weren't working that cost us so much, to cut that. And it's a huge concern for taxpayers. Here's part of that article. The main problem here isn't ethnicity or migration. It's the incentives for indolence and fraud at the heart of the welfare state. And all that free money with few guardrails is an invitation to theft. Columnist Kim Strassel echoes that with this, quote, Minnesota raises to alarm a level a separate need for reset. The system itself, the government machine, is broken. The system serves more as a cash machine for criminals than a safety net for the needy.
And another thing that people got to understand is that it's not free money. Yeah, it's free for these people, but it's not free for the, U.S. citizens who are out here working hard, who are, paying for everything that they got going on. And they're paying taxes. And these just knowing that your tax dollars are going to, lazy motherfuckers who just don't want to work, point blank, period. Yes, are there people who need welfare benefits? Yes, single mothers, I believe, especially, ones who just, don't have the help or whatever the case may be, disabled people who need, I think the welfare system isn't a system that shouldn't be there. I think it's a system that is just broken and is so easily being able to be defrauded. And it all starts with these politicians, bro. Listen, bro. It's all about money, man. If I tell people, bro, it's so funny because people be like, oh, Trump trying to look out for his millionaire and his billionaire friends. It used to just be his millionaire friends, but, all these Democrat politicians became millionaires, so they couldn't say that no more. So now it's Trump's billionaire friends, right? And it seems like Trump has been the only one exposing the corruption within inside of the government, with inside of the media. And they want to criticize him for saying the enemy within, but it's the truth. You know what I mean? That's why... Like when we was focusing on the Russia-Ukraine war and the Hamas and Israel war, it's like, bro, that's their issues. We got our own problems going on right here within our own government, within our own apparatus. And it's ridiculous at this point. Like, I just look at it like this. How could you even know, right? Even though Trump is winning on a lot of these issues and he's doing what he said he's going to do, right? But it's just the fact that they sue him. They do all of these extra things to make it hard for him to get his agenda across. So how can any American say, oh, Trump ain't doing nothing, Trump ain't doing this, when a task that can take, let's say, a month to get through and get it across takes 6 months now because they suing him. They got these Democrat judges, holding him back, telling him what he can and can't do. This is the president of the United States of America, bro. No matter if you like him or not, he's still the president. He won overwhelmingly, too, at that. So that means majority of Americans chose Donald Trump. They watched the campaigns. They listened to him. They liked his agendas. And he's doing it. They keep telling you that he's not doing it, but he's doing it. He said he was going to do no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. He said he was going to get the immigrants out of the illegal immigrants out of the country. He said he was going to look into the fraud, waste, and abuse. He did say he was going to drop the Epsteins, the MLK, the JFK files, right? And bro, like, goddamn, like he's doing 90% of it. and y'all bitching about the 10%. It's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous.
Republican Senator Joni Ernst.
We need to continue the ability to audit all of those books, all of those funds, those grants that went out through the various COVID programs. I am all on board with going back and exposing what has happened in Minnesota. And let this be a lesson as well, not just to Minnesota, but to all of the fraudsters that exist out there that have taken money that did not belong to them and should not have gone to them.
Well, she's right about that. They're taking a look at other states, including California. That for another day. Let's focus in on this really wildfire going on in terms of politics in Minnesota right now. Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, Fox News contributor. Ari, how do we not focus in on what the motivation to do something like this would have been? And that is, you cannot win in that state in politics without that Somali community, and they are at the heart of this fraud allegation.
Well, I think there are two issues here. The most fundamental one is the ripping off of the welfare state, which is human nature. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Why does anybody think this is limited to Minnesota or any of the 50 states? This is what people do when the government hands out free money. They create fraud to get more of it. And this is why big government equals big fraud and wasted money. It always has, always will. And what's vital now, and this is where if Walter Ellison, the governor and the attorney general, knew of this and looked the other way, they need to be thrown out of office.
You know they did.
Because this is corruption because of the key Somali community, as you referenced, Harris.
Look, how do we look at this in terms of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and all the pushback that Democrats had on this? I'm wondering now, were there some other underlying things going on to push back on that, like this?
You know it. Bro,
well, that's why I supported DOGE so much. Big government equals big waste. The two just go hand in hand. There will never be sufficient guardrails on any federal spending program because people are always going to figure out a way to cheat it.
Yep.
That's the problem with big government. That's the problem with free.
And look, when Ilhan was doing what he was doing, you got to look back at how hard they were going. They were going extremely hard on the USAID and all of the departments that they were going into and cooking the books, bro. They were in there looking at everything that was going on, showing how there wasn't no receipts, you couldn't trace things, like all of this stuff that was going on, bro. They already let it be known that since the government has been getting audited, I think it was, 7, 8 years now? Every year they have failed every audit since. This is just money just being printed, bro. And all of these, this is why they're going hard. And it makes sense. I mean, if I'm getting away with robbing, the country, the state, your states for millions of dollars annually, I mean, I'd be mad too if somebody cut it off. But this is why they're mad. Understand, they don't care about you. And I'll keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it, bro, because you need to understand. They do not care about you, bro. These politicians, Republican and Democrat, they don't care about you. They care about what you can offer, which is money. You pay taxes. They love you. They love you for that. That's why they want your vote, because they want to be able to continue to rob you. When that no longer becomes available to them, we'll see how much they love you. But what they'll do is they'll keep continuing to try to, make Trump look bad when these elections come up. And that's all it's about. It's about getting elected, because they know once they got power in the House and the Senate, and especially the presidency, they're going to get their way. They're going to get their way, bro. Period.
Free money. This is the fruit of the welfare state. Now, keep in mind, too, this is almost 2026. COVID happened 2020 to 2021, 5 to 6 years ago. This is only coming out now.
Right.
What other programs throughout the federal government were full of fraud, and they're only being caught later? So what you need now is high-level prosecutions. People need to go to jail for an excessively long time, and people need to be forced to give the money back. The government can claw money back when it was given out fraudulently like this. That's what you need to do. Looks like Minnesota won't do that. Minnesota will just try to let this be swept under the rug because of the importance of the Somali community there. But as the Wall Street Journal was good in pointing out, this is not about ethnicity. This is about government welfare state and the fruits of welfare.
Look, Islamic terrorist group Al-Shabaab.
They want to make everything about
gotten
race,
that money.
bro.
You can't claw that back.
Right.
It's crazy.
Wow. All right, let's move to this. And thank you very much.
Hey, everyone.
All right, let's move on to the next story, next segment. I'm telling you, bro, it's fun because it's so funny because when I've said these things like before, you know, obviously Doge was exposed and stuff, but I've been saying this like every episode for the last 15, 20 episodes. They don't care about you, and that all they care about is the money. And it shows. It shows, bro. Like, just think about it. If Trump's administration and leadership in Minnesota, who been trying to expose this, but Tim Walz was, you know, cutting them off basically and standing in their way of exposing it because he was in on it. And more than likely, he was getting kickback for sure. But I'm telling you, the more and more this administration goes on, and they're not gonna stop, bro. Trump is not gonna stop. He's going to expose everything because I believe that's his true goal, is to really open people's eyes to what's going on in this government, that this government isn't what you think it is. Because look, like Trump goes against Republicans, Democrat, doesn't care. If you're a snake, he's going to call you a snake. Period. Not like Democrats. Everybody's seen Stacey Placid texting Jeffrey Epstein in 2018, right? To question Trump's former attorney. Everybody saw that. But you got every single Democrat came out, didn't hold her accountable, didn't say it was wrong, nothing. Nothing. They all defended her because that's what they do. Because ultimately, they all snakes. They all fucking snakes, bro. These people crazy, bro. All
another week, another hoax. That's the focus of tonight's angle. He sounded so sure until he wasn't.
That is a war crime, full stop.
The Admiral confirmed that there had not been a kill them all order and that there was not an order to grant no...
Hold on, look at his face, though. Look at his face. He's sick as hell. You see, hold on, let's run it back because you see the confidence in the first one? Look at the confidence.
Another week, another hoax. That's the focus of tonight's angle. He sounded so sure until he wasn't.
That is a war crime.
Look at the
full
confidence.
Stop.
The Admiral.
You see it. You see the, you know what I mean? When they out here lying, they say it with so much conviction that you like, it's the truth, man. Fuck Trump. And then they got to come back and they got to keep it real. Look
Confirmed that there had not been a kill them all order.
This is hurting them.
And that there was not an order to grant no quarter.
Look, he trying to walk away. He mad as hell. He was mad as hell. He had to say that, bro. Because, bro, and if it's stuff like this that doesn't make you question everything, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Goofy, doesn't matter who it is, you got to question it, bro. Can't trust nobody, man, especially in the government, bro. But if, like, this is what they do. Propaganda at its finest. Get out there. Oh, if this is clown world. Sick as hell he had to come out and say that. I love it.
That's all I've got.
I've got nothing further to say.
What else is there to say? They never learn, though.
Never.
As Donald Trump is busy brokering peace deals and making America richer and safer, Democrats are busy making total fools of themselves. Because when they're not defending criminal illegals, Somali fraudsters, and international drug traffickers, they're trying to get their first scalp in the Trump cabinet. And until this morning, they thought they had it.
The new report from the Washington Post leads some lawmakers to ask whether the Pentagon has committed a war crime.
What we've seen here over the last couple of days, clearly unlawful, illegal orders.
It goes to this order from the secretary, apparently of no quarter, which is an obvious war crimes.
Bro, but you know what? You see how the Sedition Six came out with that video telling the military, not to follow illegal orders. But we all know what they meant. We all know the implication, right? And then, first of all, this ain't the first drug boat that Pete Hegseth and them hit. They've hit multiple of them, right? But it just so happened that these survivors that were in the water, they were coming up and they were on the boat, and they were on the rubbish, right? And they were still alive. And he said, kill them. He's made up fake stories, bro. That's why you got to be careful, bro. You got to be careful, man. For real. Maui, Hawaii. Jay Reyes, what's up? What's good with you? Maui, Hawaii. What about it? What about Maui? They crazy, right, man?
Violation.
Let me be very clear. Killing shipwreck survivors is a war crime.
Thank you, Ted. Well, this all stemmed from breathless media reports, starting with the Washington Post, that in that September 2nd strike on the drug boat, Hegseth had given a direct order to kill any and all survivors. Well, of course, Secretary Hegseth denied that account to no avail, but the Beltway mob was still after him. Then last night, the narrative totally began to fall apart because the threat remained after the first strike, and the threat needed to be eliminated.
According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets.
Ruh-roh. Then today on Capitol Hill, Admiral Bradley launched a truth bomb behind closed doors.
Was there a kill-all order from Secretary Hegseth?
No, both. Admiral Bradley was very clear that he was given no such order, not to give no quarter or to kill them all. He was given an order that, of course, was written down in great detail, as our military always does.
But was there a vocal order as well?
There's no vocal order.
But just think about this. This order that they said happened. It never happened. So from the jump, it was a made-up story. So if you're a person, right, who's just a Democrat through and through, cool. But these things, because there's multiple of them. I can name the Russia hoax, the Flying People hoax. Now the kill them all. This is a hoax. This is a hoax. It's war crime. They were saying war crimes. Like, bro, this all hoax. Lies told, not just by these Democrat radical left lunatics that Trump calls them, right? But also by the leftist media. So how can you trust these people is what I'm trying to say. How can you trust them? You can't. Come on, bro. Like, if they lied to you once, they're going to lie to you twice. What George Bush say, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you can't get fooled again.
Of course, after hyping the story, though, all week, Democrats did their best to salvage their own wreckage.
I don't reach the same conclusion that Senator Cotton does, if you're describing it as righteous.
He said that.
But I have more policy questions than ever about the framing of the mission, the rules of engagement.
I thought it was a legal challenge. Now it's a policy difference. Translation, there is no war crime.
Nothing.
And because their number one priority is another Trump impeachment, they box themselves into a corner.
Any American who sees the video that I saw will see the United States military attacking shipwrecked sailors. Bad guys, but attacking shipwrecked sailors. Now, there's a whole set of contextual items that the Admiral explained. Yes, they were carrying drugs.
I'm surprised they didn't call them Gilligan and the Professor, right?
So it's simple. It's simple. Number one, Trump said that he labeled these people, these cartel members, terrorists, period, right? So you have terrorists on boats with drugs coming across the ocean trying to get these drugs into America. Trump is stopping them, point blank. Like, what are we talking about? I think that's called saving lives. Don't drugs kill people? They kill people. These Democrats, they want the drugs to come in. They want that backdoor money. They need that backdoor money. Ain't it so crazy that all these politicians are so filthy rich? So they got $19 million homes and shit. Meanwhile, you're out here struggling to pay $10 in gas, buy $50 in groceries. And yet they're getting on the news with the little propaganda army lying to you, and you're just going out there voting for these clowns.
Just shipwreck sale. Well, and not so long ago, remember, Democrats agreed that destroying these threats was a good thing.
Let's go after the drug lords where they live.
Joe
with
Biden.
An international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
Oh, my. Have things changed in the Democrat Party? Now they prefer a softer approach.
Hey, yo, I told y'all.
If these boats are full of drugs and
Hold on, my bad. I'm sorry for keep cutting it off, but I told y'all that social media, right? Just the technology that we have, like, they got to understand, bro. Like, even if it's not the news that's going to do it, you're going to have your podcasters like myself and others who are better than me at doing this, who do their information. They get their information, bro. And it's so crazy that when you go back, not even too long ago, neither, all of these Democrats approved of every single thing that Donald Trump is doing right now, maybe minus tariffs. I don't know about that part, right? But I've seen him. Look, it just play. I ain't even never see that video with Joe Biden saying, we got to get rid of the narco boats, right? Immigration. They all were aligned on immigration. Illegal immigrants shouldn't be here. They got to come here the right way. Now, all of a sudden, poof, thin air. We talking about as early as Barack Obama. So Barack Obama was in office until 16. So, and then Trump was in there from 20, right? Until 20. So it took 4 years for them to change up. Now, because when Joe Biden came in, he let all these illegal immigrants come in. So what happened within 4 years? Because Joe Biden was part of Obama's administration who deported millions of illegal immigrants. So what happened? What changed? What's the thought process? What's the policies behind this? What's the logic behind 4 years it took for them to change their minds on how immigration should be in this country? Crazy.
Traffickers. Why not interdict them? Show to the country, show to the world the drugs and the terrorists, the narco-terrorists.
And give them some hot chocolate, too.
Right.
Great idea. Let's hire them all lawyers as well. Now, you see how Trump has them all trapped here? He wants to make America great again. They want to make drug running safe again.
Forget the war crimes. Okay. Forget what the U.S. Army manual says. Forget what the DOD manual says. So, yeah, they're making up as they go along every day. And the inconsistency of it all, again, looks very bad.
What looks bad is the egg on their faces. Trump's success has scrambled their brains.
For real.
And that's the angle.
It was opening day at the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. Yep, Rubio surprised 47 and slapped his name on the building. There's nothing that Trump loves more than that.
Oh, my bad. Let's move on from that. Hey, yo, bro, you can't make this stuff up, bro. You can't make it up, man. I just don't see because I know, like, my eyes is, like, I got pretty good vision, but I know a lot of you have great vision as well, maybe even better. I don't see how you don't see what's going on. And, I'm not claiming the Republican Party is great because there's snakes in the Republican Party too. But god damn, these people are insane. How badly they want to rob Americans is actually retarded. Like, and then it's narcissistic because then they get on camera and tell you how much they love you and how much they're patriots and they want to fight for America. Boy, you ain't fighting for shit. And this is the thing. I always say this too. Where's the solutions to anything? Where's the solutions at? Right? I hear a bunch of complaining, a bunch of Trump. Where are the solutions? Where's the rebuttals for any of Trump's policies, for anything they don't agree with Trump's administration? Where is the solutions? I don't hear none from these people. All I ever hear is Trump, 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 Trump. Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. That's all you hear. I mean, as a Democrat, you got it. Come on, bro. You gotta be like sick of this shit. You even gotta be tired of this shit. Anyway, on to the next story. Make sure I hit that like button, hit that share button. Thank you all for tapping in. I appreciate you.
Is that they've broken all of their promises. They indicated that they were going to lower costs. In fact, lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down in America. Costs have gone up. Housing costs are through the roof. Grocery prices through the roof. Electricity bills through the roof. And now, because my Republican colleagues refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, we know tens of millions of people are about to experience dramatically increased health care costs. Democrats are actually the party focused on driving down the high cost of living.
And so let's talk about a couple of those points of leverage that you just pointed out. Affordability and health care. Many would argue that it's kind of the same story here. President Trump has been saying that affordability is a Democrat hoax, a Democrat con job. Does that mean you do not have Republicans on board with you in reforming health care or extending Obamacare subsidies?
It appears that way. It's unfortunate that the president's position, which is the Republican Party's position, is that the affordability crisis in the United States of America is a con job and it's a hoax. No, what was a con job and hoax was the fact that Republicans spent all of last year claiming that they were going to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America, that they were a party committed to addressing the inflationary pressure that the American people were under. That's all they talked about last year. But they lied to the voters. That's the con job.
They lied.
No, the con job, just so we're all clear and we're on the same page here, the con job is what Democrats did during the Biden administration.
Oh my God.
Isn't it fascinating that the party who rages against billionaires are literally the party that made billionaires richer than they've ever been? The biggest transfer of wealth occurred under COVID. All these stock prices, the values.
Real quick, man, shout out to Devory Darkins, man. But yo, this is why I tap into these guys, man. And because they articulate these points better than me. You know, they do a good job, bro. This is why I react to them dope as hell. And I love Devory Darkins because he's more centered with his, you know, with his points. And I like that. But anyway, let's get back.
Of these companies, market caps, all record highs. Why? Because that happened under the Biden administration. So what's happening here, folks, in case it's not obvious, is that Democrats broke it and they're blaming the president, even though, you know, obviously it's his responsibility to fix it because he's in charge. I get that. But they're blaming him. Now, I want you guys to imagine if inflation never happened, would people really be complaining about prices right now? No.
Right.
If it stayed average, let's say it was just 3% year over year, 3%. Okay, nobody would be complaining about prices, not at the level people do today. So I guess the question is, what does the White House have to say about this, right? Because as we said previously, I think it's taken them a bit to finally get around to talking about affordability, and I think that's a fair criticism. But here's what Fox News is reporting.
President Trump is launching plans to sell his economic agenda ahead of the big midterms elections, focusing on what else? Affordability. The White House already touting that gas prices have now hit a 4-year low and spending power is up. White House advisor Kevin Hassett says relief is coming. It's coming in 2026, all thanks to President Trump's efforts.
We understand that, like, if a typical person buying a home saw their monthly mortgage payment go up by more than $1,000, grocery prices, a typical family's grocery bag went from about $400 to $525 a month. And so all that happened under Joe Biden. And now we're getting inflation under control. We're getting wage growth to grow again. People's spending power is up about $1,200 so far this year after dropping $3,000 under Joe Biden. It's going to take a little bit more time to get the hole that Biden dug to be completely filled, but we're going to do it. We're highly confident we're going to do it.
And that's the point. That's the point that people like just conveniently leave out. All of this unaffordability happened under Joe Biden. Like, what did we forget? That's why everybody voted for Trump, because they said we couldn't take the risk to vote Democrat after what just happened these last 4 years. Like, that's why when they say Trump promised that he was going to fix the affordability crisis, y'all caused it. It took you 4 years to do what you did. Now you expect them to fix it in a couple months? Come on, stop, man. That's not how it works. And if you I understand we all may not know the ins and outs. I don't claim to be a scholar of politics, but even I know that it's going to take longer than a year for things to get, back to normal. You know what I mean? Or to me personally, I don't think things will go back to, like, hopefully it does. I'm hoping it does. I hope it gets even better than it was in 2020, in 2019, right? I guess I would assume that's Trump's goal. But, let's be honest, bro. Gas is what? I seen it go all the way down to like I'm out in Jersey, which is expensive. It went down to like $2.60 something like last week. Gas goes up and down. But I've seen eggs. I bought eggs the other day. Yo, a dozen of eggs, grade A eggs, was $1, bro. No cap. I didn't see no sale attached to it. I might have missed it, but they was $1, bro. No cap. I swear to God, bro. And I'm just saying, bro, things are going down. It takes time. But why do people conveniently leave out the fact, and they use these talking points as if everybody just forgot that this happened under Joe Biden? It's crazy. Just like everybody claims, oh, Trump's economy was only good because Obama left it that way. Yes, true. Obama's economy was good. He left it to Trump. It was good. Trump kept it good up until, I believe, Democrat allegedly, but could be wrong, until they started COVID, right? And then things kind of got a little crazy.
At this point, and this is just the reality, right? So most people don't want to hear about the Biden administration, okay? Now that it's almost going to be, it's 11 months, essentially, in the next couple of weeks that he's been in office, most people don't care about what the prior administration did. What they care to hear is, what are you guys doing forward to fix this? And that's why we talked about it multitude of times, which is they should tap what we would call an affordability czar. This idea was, I think, pushed really hard by Bill O'Reilly. I don't think they took his advice. And Bill O'Reilly has been at the White House multitude of times, has been asked for advice from the president. So I don't understand why they haven't listened to him on that. I think that would be genius. I think someone who can articulate and communicate exactly what the administration is doing regarding affordability would go a long way. So according to Jeffries, it's, Trump's fault. He said he was going to bring prices down on day one. He did bring some prices down regarding, gas, which has hit a record low. And I guess a good time to show you that. Why don't we watch this clip?
And for the holiday season, gas prices going down across the country.
Yeah, according to AAA, the national average just under $3 a gallon. That's the lowest it's been since May of 2021. Now, here in Texas, the average a lot lower than that, $2.55 a gallon. Now, experts say a cheaper blend is coming our way this winter. Oil prices have been dropping as well, from around $81 a barrel in 2022 to nearly $60 in recent weeks.
Crude oil prices this year have been relatively stable and relatively low. When you look at the national average across the board, starting in January of this year, it's been pretty much a flat line all year long, and that's very rare.
To the person out there where they're feeling the inflation in other areas, gas prices is nice to hear. Like, it's great to go to the gas station and see how low they are. Matter of fact, I have family right now in town. They're here at the house, and they were kind of stunned. In Texas, gas is $2.49. I mean, I love that. $2.49. You know what it is in California? $6. Imagine paying $6, especially if you own an SUV or you own a truck, not a Honda Civic, not a hybrid, and not an electric vehicle. Imagine how much you're paying.
Ridiculous.
Especially if you go to work every day. Okay, here it is right here on the screen, national average. So it's back to being a record low, which is good news. And the fact of the matter is, the only other thing that the president can truly lower would be electricity prices. So what do we do about it? That's why I started off with this show saying, you got to raise your income, because these are things you can't control. Okay. What you can control is your ability to raise your income. Even if it's by 10%, you've got to raise your income beyond the inflation level. We'll get into how to do that later. All right. So here's another perspective from John Rose, Tennessee congressman, and a Republican. Here's what he had to say.
We had 4 years of profligate federal spending that created the worst inflation in a generation. So it's going to take time. But you do see, for example, in Tennessee, I filled up this week for $2.39 a gallon, prices we haven't seen in a long time. And if you
My bad, man. That shit, yo, bro, this nigga look weird.
look at the broader statistics, we see that the cost of living are coming down. This Thanksgiving was less expensive than last Thanksgiving. So we just have to have the patience to see these policies through to fruition. We're starting to see that happen. When we get to January 1st and we see many of the One Big Beautiful Law tax cuts start to come into play in a more real way for Americans, I think they're going to start to see the real hit in their pocketbook. And we see wages up in a dramatic way for the first time in a generation and since the last time when Trump was in office. So I think the answers are on the way.
I think I want to talk to Boomer.
And another thing I want to say is the One Big Beautiful Bill has been passed, but it's about to be in effect. So once this goes into effect, I'll give it 6 months, maybe to the end of the year. People are going to see differences because if you're a person like myself, I work overtime. So if you work overtime, you're going to see more money on your check because it's no longer going to be getting taxed up to, I believe, $1,500 if you're single. I think it's $25,000 if you're married. So people are going to see more money regardless if you work. So shame on you if you don't, but it's okay if you can't. I get it. But you're going to see more money just in that field alone. So people are going to be bringing home more money. And once, gas is going down, like I said, over here in New Jersey, I seen it go all the way down to I think it was $2.62 like a week ago. It goes up and back down. But I look at it like it's going to get to that level, I believe, by, I'll say within the first 6 months of 2026, we should be seeing thank you, man. Jay Reyes 5861. Shout out to you. You in Maui. Oh man, I know it's beautiful out there. That's what's up, man. Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you ain't subscribed. But I appreciate that comment. And thanks, man. I really do appreciate that, man. Man, that's official, man. Shout out to Jay Reyes, man. But once these things go into effect, we're really going to see change. And then once energy prices come down, see the energy prices, and Trump went in on this on the campaign trail because energy prices is major because everything needs energy. The tractor trailers, they go get products from warehouses, they get shipped. You got gas, and energy is everything. So if energy prices start coming down too, that's going to make the cost of product come down. You know what I mean? The cost to ship the product. There's so many different variables when it comes to, the energy prices, especially getting lower. We see grocery prices coming down, and people don't understand. Things may come down, let's just say 50 cents, right? Like, it may seem like that's not a lot of money, right? Like, overall. But it really is, though, when you talk about, that's why they bring up the national average. So these things are coming down, whether you want to look at it that way or not. But things have been, it's so high, though, that $3 is really, we really think about it, bro. $2.99 is still high. So it is still high. I think it's going to get better, though. That's my thing. Once this One Big Beautiful Bill passes, you got to remember too, Trump also has a lot more business coming into America. So once these businesses start being built, employees start working in these facilities and whatnot, the economy start booming more, it's going to get better, bro. I guarantee it, bro. And this is why I said that's why it's scary times, because even though I could see Trump's vision with his mission on trying to make America great again, I also see the maliciousness with the Democratic Party, and I know that these people are willing to do any and everything. Any and everything. And if you think that civilian life isn't on the table for these people, you're wrong, bro. We all seen what happened in 2020, bro. And I'm just not a person that's going to sit there and say that we know it was man-made, period. So which means that this was put out there not by accident. So you can take, that how you want it. But for me, that's how I'm going to view it. So it makes me feel like come 2028, these people will become so desperate that anything can happen. And this is why I say, man, I just feel as though the best thing the Democratic Party can do is team up with Trump, actually get on board with the mission, make America great again, and actually care about care about American citizens, bro, for real. Because I don't think they do at all. Nothing they do speaks to that at all.
And people who are Gen X, because some of you guys, you either have your retirement plan in order, or you should be focusing on your financial future, because a lot of this is just more drama and distraction with what's happening in DC. It's a crazy world today. That's why I want to talk about Lear Capital. Friends of mine, people you could trust, people who will educate you on what you. James Woods, Hollywood is giddy over Gavin Newsom. By the way, the national average gas price is $3. This is the price of gas today in Los Angeles. You guys see that?
God damn.
How much is that?
Yo, I wonder how much people get paid out there then. What's the minimum wage? I gotta look this up. Because this is crazy. $7? What? Hold on. Yo, $7 is crazy, bro. Yo, bro, $7? Yeah. Get out of here. That's why it's all that homelessness going on in California. Yo, it says, hold on. It says California statewide minimum wage is $16.50 per $16.50 per hour. But that's not even funny. For most workers, as of January 1st, 2025, but higher rates apply to specific sectors like fast food, starting at $20. Okay, $20 for in healthcare, so $20 an hour for healthcare and fast food. Plus, many cities and counties have their own, even higher local minimums, with rates scheduled to adjust annually based on inflation. So, $20. Let's just say that on the high end, $20. On the low end, $16.50. Bro, what? And we already know the cost of living out there is expensive. So, bro, how is people surviving out there? Bro, you gotta be a drug dealer in California. You gotta do something. I make more than that in Jersey, and I'm struggling. Yo, bro, you can't make this stuff up, bro. It's actually sad, bro.
Let me zoom in for you. $6.83. $6.83. Are you kidding me? The highest, especially if you're using premium, $7.03.
Niggas,
and this is
niggas ain't putting premium in that BMW. They putting regular in the Bentley. Oh my God, bro. This is
California.
Wild.
This has nothing to do with the president. This has nothing to, the president is not causing these high gas prices in California. It's interesting. What is the difference between California and Texas?
Yeah, that's what I'm
California,
thinking.
or excuse me, Texas, they don't have income tax, but we have low gas prices. Now, let's go to Laura Trump, because obviously the main criticism against the president is they believe his messaging around affordability hasn't been the best, but she has a different perspective.
Donald Trump is his own best communicator. He's his own best mouthpiece from the White House perspective. And you're right, he was masterful on the campaign trail because he does communicate directly with the people of this country. But unlike the previous president, who either ignored problems, Aisha, or made them worse, as in inflation, as we're talking about right now, and the affordability crisis that hit Americans hard, this president faces it dead on and actually tackles it. And that's what you've seen him do since he got into office. And yes, there's been a lot to do. He's tried to bring peace around the world. He's tried to secure our border and get, illegal criminals out of our country. And obviously, one of the big pieces of that is making America's economy great again and bringing affordability back. But it doesn't happen overnight. So he has planted those seeds, and he has to talk to the American people about where they are going to feel it and when they are going to feel it. But look, all of the indicators are heading in the right direction. You see that month after month, the job growth in this country tends to outpace what the experts have even predicted. Core inflation is down to the lowest point since it was under President Trump's first term in office. It's around 2.1%, and we've seen the economy grow at about 3%. So
That's why it goes back to they need an affordability czar. They need someone who can connect with the voters, because if they don't do this, and why do I even, it's interesting because I was asking myself the question, why is criticizing people you support necessary at times? Because it actually proves that you care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't say anything. I want the president to be successful. I want Republicans to win. I want conservatives to be in these leadership roles within our government. I want conservatives on the Supreme Court, because if we don't have that, ladies and gentlemen, there is no restriction whatsoever. We know the alternative is progressives, which is crazy. They just want to let it all loose. They don't want any restrictions. They don't want any limitations. They don't even want any laws. Let's go to this clip from CNN regarding Gen Z and their support for the president.
Donald Trump put in the best performance for a Republican presidential candidate among young voters since George W. Bush did back in the early 2000s. And he started off his term, his net approval rating among voters under the age of 30 at plus 10 points. Hey, that's pretty gosh darn good. But you come over now, according to CBS News YouGov, this isn't falling into the water. This isn't going underseas. This is going into a deep, dark, black hole. Look at that, minus 46 points. That is a shift on the net approval of 56 points in the wrong direction since February. My goodness gracious, I love looking at these swings, looking how the electorate changes. You rarely ever see swings.
We look at a lot of polls. We almost never see drops this big, this quickly.
Yeah.
Any sense of why? What issues may be driving it?
Look, we've been talking about it. You were talking about it last segment with Mr. Matt Egan. It's the economy, stupid. I mean, just take a look here. Age 18 to 29 on Trump and the economy. Back in October of 2024, who did those under the age of 30 trust? Harris or Trump? It was Trump by 10 points, according to the Marquette University Law School poll. Look at where his net approval rating is now on the economy. Minus 52 points, very similar to what we saw in the CBS News YouGov poll in terms of his overall drop in support on the net approval rating. And this minus 52, it's just stunning.
Now, as it pertains to Gen Z, so that poll really shouldn't be a shocker to you, because they're already disgusted at politics, okay? I'm not shocked by that. That's not a hey, everything's going to burn down type of thing. But it does show you where their mindset is at. And it shows you they're not getting the right information. They're not getting the right information because people are not communicating to them in the right way. That whether that is at the universities, whether that is with the federal government, particularly the Trump administration, we talked about the lack of an affordability czar, whether that is this continuous dramatic fight in the public between Democrats and Republicans that leads to nowhere. It's interesting how we went from, social security offices we're going to close to, Trump's ballroom to, ACA subsidies will kill 20 million Americans if we don't pass it now, to Epstein files, and then to a little bit of affordability. I guess they were somewhat concerned with it, to, hey, Pete Hegseth has committed war crimes. I mean, these people don't really care about me and you. I hope you guys understand that.
And I'm going to end it with that, bro. Shout out to Devory Darkins, bro. Because I've been trying to tell you this whole time, that's the truth. They don't care about you, bro. They truly don't. They're just trying to find any story, anything that can stick to try to get Trump impeached, to try to get voters to go against them. So when these elections come around, they can get back in power, or they can figure out how to get Trump out of power. Because the one thing's for sure, two things for certain, we have never in the history that I know of, I could be wrong because I only lived on this earth for 36 years, but since I would say since, who was the president before George Bush? George W. Bush. Excuse me. Damn, I don't even know. Because that I wasn't following at all. I wasn't even following with George Bush. I just remember George Bush. I remember Obama. I remember Trump, Joe Biden. So you got to think, we have never seen a party, and like I said, I could be wrong about this, but I just don't remember it. But when Trump came down that golden escalator, all hell broke loose, bro. These people went crazy. And now it's even crazier. TDS is at an all-time high, especially with the Democrats. It's one thing after another. Like you notice since Stacey Placid and Hakeem Jeffries, they were found out about their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And you started seeing Democrats getting exposed with Jeffrey Epstein versus Trump. And the narrative changes to now everybody on YouTube is saying, oh, Donald Trump, they're trying to redact they're trying to redact everything. And then they want to put it out while it's redacted. So now, it's still Trump is hiding something, but the only thing that's coming out is Democrats being exposed to be talking to this guy, getting money from Jeffrey Epstein. And then once they see that this story isn't sticking with Trump, now you don't even hear nothing about it. But yet they told you they cared so much about the victims. You know what I mean? And this goes for every single story, bro. It's one thing after another, bro. And this is why I came to the conclusion also that they don't care about us, man. They don't. And I believe a lot of Republicans don't neither. But I believe Trump does, bro. I think Trump, I really truly believe Trump cares about America. You've seen it in the Oprah interview. Go watch the Oprah interview it was like in the 80s, like 88 or something. I mean, I wasn't even born yet. Him and Oprah were best of friends. She even, joked about them running together. She asked him about running for president. But that's not the point. The point is he talked about the same issues, mainly about tariffing foreign countries, how they were taking advantage. So you've seen him actually care about these issues way before he ever ran for president. Like, Trump is from here, bro. He's American. He cares about the country. Not saying that these other politicians aren't from here, but, I mean, they didn't build the empire. They're not billionaires. So I believe that these people are easily influenced with money and easily compromised. I'm just being honest. I just don't think Trump is compromised. Like when people say every president is a puppet, I just don't believe Trump is a puppet. Like that's my analysis of Trump. I don't believe he is a puppet because everything he does go against the norm. He was the first one to start exposing the media, calling them fake news, saying that's a fake story. It's not true. That's a lie. You're lying. I don't want to talk to you. It's fake news. You know what I mean? Like he been saying these things, been exposing these people, talking about the swamp, talking about how the government is full with corruption. He been saying this stuff. And what? He gets back in office and he goes nuclear on these people, bro. That's why I got to say Trump is not a puppet. Because if he was a puppet, he would be going along with the norms, which is war, which is, more taxes. Like he's trying to cut taxes. They want to raise taxes. So it's so much and it's so much information. And I said this too. And I agree with Devory as far as like the average American don't care about politics. They don't want to talk about politics. They don't care. They just want things to be affordable. They want to be able to take care of their families and, go on a vacation or two and live life, bro, without having to, dig in their savings and not being able to save no money and things like that. That's what people care about, bro. And that's what we got to get back to so people can get back to that lifestyle. where you can save money, go on a couple of trips, and afford your bills without feeling like you're, about to give up. I mean, it's crazy, man. It really is, man. But I believe things will get better. 2026 is going to be a great year for everybody. I wish nothing but the best for everybody. I know it's going to be good, man. We just gotta keep just be positive, man, for real. And honestly, man, I just want everybody who has been hating on Trump, when things get better, just admit it. That's it. You know what I mean? But that's the show for today, man. If you fuck with the show, make sure you hit that like button, hit that share button, comment down below if you agree, disagree. It doesn't matter. But make sure, more than anything, right now, matter of fact, it says 3 people watching. All of y'all, if not hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button for me. I appreciate it. Yo, this your boy SL550. This is the Never Gonna Lose Again podcast. Until next time, I'm out.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams. I know niggas who played ball and gave it up for lean.
Millionaire thoughts, billionaire dreams, but my account in overdraft, I'm about to scream.
Rich man greed,
a poor man prayers.
Every man bleeds,
but look how God made us.
Too many losses, it's only right that we win. Yeah, I made a promise I'm never gonna lose again.